that even look like?
Mm, yeah, absolutely. So, Nico, Kim, I invite you guys to chime in here. I think for me, Felicia, I think part of the thinking here is to consider, all right, one, am I playing a role in the leadership transition? And if so, how do I do that well? And then, secondly, who am I bringing on my journey with me? Not necessarily to develop and to cultivate, but to build a healthy relationship with so that we both can grow in this together. As you're going through this transition, do you think there is someone who is willing and capable of going through this transition with you?
Possibly. The treasurer is part of another LGBTQ plus organization. He's on the board of directors, um, and I want to kind of tap into what he knows, but I'll be honest, I'm a little afraid to go and do the ask. But I'm like, I need to be able to get the information that I need to.
I apologize. I
But
took a call, so I missed the context of your question or your discussion. Felicia, can you just um, summarize it real quick so I can catch up? Sorry about that.
So the question on the floor is, what are some of the assumptions we need to rethink around leadership? And then two, are you generally going through a leadership transition that's requiring you to rethink your approach to leadership? And Felicia was sharing just a specific example she's going through, where she's going through a transition. She's kind of thinking through, how to make that happen and who's going to be available to contribute to the change. And there are a lot of questions there. So feel free to jump in, Kim.
I'd have to say that when I listened to your conversation earlier, your introduction, I have to commend you on the fact that, being an extraordinary leader. Um, and the reason why I say that is because oftentimes there's a difference between being a manager and a leader. And for me, the difference for me is a manager sits there and just manages and just takes notes. Leader is someone who helps with their individual persons that work with them, so they grab them and bring them up and they teach them so they can go out and fly. And that's how it works. And so I'm just commend you on that. I understand when you have somebody that you've been working with, that you saw the possibilities and that you trained them and you led them and they left, but they're going to take what you taught them. They're going to take what they learned from you, just watching you, and they're going to take that and run with it, and be able to do the same thing you did with them. So commend you, Dr. Clark, on that. And for Felicia, um, transition is good. It's kind of interesting because I owned my company, Comedic Solutions. I retired from my company because I was at a transition point, and I was not prepared or ready to take the next to transition into the next level. So I just retired. So when you have a transition, especially with your leadership or board, there's an opportunity for you just to look at it from an opportunity from a clean slate or an opportunity for growth. An opportunity for growth. Um, Maybe there's some things in your organization that you've been wanting to do and you have not been able to do, or a direction you wanted to go and you couldn't go there because you didn't have the people in your circle and your leadership to help take you there. So maybe this leadership that you're going to cultivate, the new leadership, can be individuals who don't think like Felicia, but they can share your vision, but kind of like bring you outside of that box, take you to a new direction so that your organization can move and grow in a new direction, but also still hold the same principles and processes and policies that you have in place. I think that's just from that's coming to me right now. I hope that's helpful, but yeah, this is what's coming to me. Thanks, Ms. Kim. I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Kim. Go ahead,
Actually,
Felicia.
I need to excuse myself. I actually need to leave, but this has been a good conversation. The next time you have a clubhouse room open, I'll try to join in.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day. Nico.
Thanks, Felicia. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. Thanks.
Nico, let's invite you in here. Bring some West Coast thought to this. I mean, the question on the floor is, what are some of the leadership assumptions we need to consider? And are you going through a transition right now that's challenging your assumptions?
Hello, can anybody hear us? Nico, can you hear us?
Yeah, I was.
Sure we're still there.
I was definitely on mute. So I was inviting Nico to the conversation to give some West Coast perspective to kind of talk about what are some of the leadership assumptions we need to rethink, and if so, yes, what are those assumptions, and what transitions you're going through?
No, sir. Yeah. Thank you. Again, I completely agree with kind of what Kim was talking about. Being a leader. In my profession, I'm kind of what you spoke of in the beginning of the conversation about kind of just feeling that you're on this this downhill slide, but what we do, it's just the large transition of some of the key points you touched on of being a leader is building people, establishing that rapport, having a good communication with your team or whoever. But even my profession, that's kind of it's kind of not happening because the turnover is so high, and we only have people for maybe a couple years before they leave, either to another job or another department, or just figure out that this is something that they don't want to do. So you really don't have much time to build and develop and kind of have that rapport and relationship with your team to build individuals kind of where you want them to be. So it's definitely challenging. And but yeah, I'm with Kim. Your definition of leaders is pretty spot on in regards to my opinion. We my definition of a leader is to build people to be not followers. We build people to be other leaders. Like, that's the ultimate goal for me. Is as a leader, I don't want to have followers. I want to build people to, like Kim said, fly, be their own leader, and in turn take what I've given them and other individuals that are leaders in their lives and develop their own way to lead themselves. That's the ultimate goal. But again, when the challenging thing, and again, I'm sure many professions and mine as well, is just not having enough time with these individuals to do that. And in turn, I'm willing to make a change myself because, again, I want to surround myself with people that I know that if I'm going to dedicate my time, my effort, especially where I'm at in my career, they're able to take advantage of that opportunity. So yeah, it's definitely challenging, but again, all you can do is hopefully the time you spend with them, they can take whatever guidance you have possibly given them to kind of, like Kim said, fly in their next opportunity.
So let me ask you both this question. Let me just welcome folks here in our Facebook group and Clubhouse. If you're in Clubhouse, I'm going to invite you up to the stage. If you don't want to talk, totally fine. We do encourage you to sit on stage for a couple of reasons. The improved audio quality is pretty major. Second, if you care to talk, you can obviously flash your mic on mute. And then lastly, when you sit on stage, even if you're not talking, your network gets notified of this room and of this great conversation. So I'm going to encourage folks to jump on stage. Also, if you're in Facebook, in our Facebook group, feel free to leave a note here, and we'll be glad to field your question. So let me ask you guys this question, Kim and Nico. What are your reflections on the idea that the divine, if you believe in that, is already aware of what is, right? And it's up to us, right, when we first confront what is already known and what was already to happen, it is now up to us to learn how to navigate to the path that the divine has laid out, particularly as it relates to change and transformation. What are your thoughts and reflections on that?
Well, that's a really good question at 8:30 in the morning. Um,
I try.
and I don't even drink coffee on the weekend, so I drink it Monday through Friday.
I
um,
try.
so um, I'm thinking of when I've listened to that question, I thought of vision. The word that came to me was vision, and the vision that leaders we have. Um, that's pretty much what we go for. That's why we do the work we do, because of the vision. And we hope that we put it people on our team so they can help us reach that vision or cultivate that vision. Um, and it's not going to be easy. There's always ups and downs, and that's okay. But the vision never shifts. It may, for me, the vision is always going to be there, but it's how we get to that vision.
Mm.
And yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna stop. I just think that that's what, with me, um, with my company, my vision. I think and this is just came to me as well. Just transparency is that my vision with my company was to train individuals on how best to run their fundraising, how best to reach their fundraising goals, and teach them how to fundraise. And it seemed as though my company took a turn where I was doing more teaching candidates how to raise money versus nonprofits. And so that's pretty much why I pretty much stopped my company, because I felt like I was getting more clients who needed assistance with raising money for their potential needs, their political needs, versus working with nonprofits. So I had to change my trajectory, change my direction, and then start a different focus so I could reach the vision that I wanted, which is to train and help nonprofits reach their financial goals
Yeah.
and needs. So I hope I answered the question the best way I could, but the word that came to me was vision. And for leaders, we have a vision, and we often try to reach that vision, to bring it to fruition. But we have people around us that help us get there. And if people around us don't help us get there, then that's where we have some conflict, or we have to do some training and all that. So that's Kilton speaking.
Absolutely. Nico, what are your thoughts? What are your reflections on the fact that as leaders, the divine is already aware of what is to come, and as leaders, we confront what is already known at the appointed time, and our job is to navigate to the path that leads to peace and to a successful outcome.
Yeah, again, it's that just full sense of responsibility and what goes into the leadership role. Again, um, like I spoke before, the vision of being a great leader is not to have the followers, but in the initial setup, that pathway has to be very clear, and they have to follow the path until they feel they're at a position where they can branch off the path and start to begin their own. Um, yeah, as long as you make that vision, that responsibility of what the initial goal is or the ultimate goal is, until that's established and they can visually be on their own and start to develop their own path. Um, yeah, it's again just that sense of responsibility to take somebody and build them up to where you hopefully feel they need to be to begin their own path, but most importantly themselves, to have that sense of responsibility on their own where they could say, hey, now it's time for me to start paving my own way and developing my own leadership role.
Absolutely. And as we welcome in Marina, to this conversation, I am learning. right? And I say this humbly, I am learning how to embrace the fact that I don't know everything, right? So it's a statement that we all can make, and we make it, I think, honestly and authentically. However, what I am learning is that the embrace of that statement brings another level of peace and satisfaction as I deal with what is. That I don't know everything. That as I discover what is already known, I can be in a better place of thinking, feeling, and leading by acknowledging that as of this moment, I do not know the answer, and I'm not going to force myself to find out the answer. However, I'm going to walk the journey to discover what it is I need to learn, particularly as I'm navigating change as a leader. Marina, you jumped in the middle of this conversation, but we're talking about how to rethink our leadership assumptions, particularly as it relates to change. And just looking at your bio here, it looks like you may have some critical thoughts to add here, but welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Blessings, Dr. Clark and and ask me that correctly, please, Dr. Clark.
Yeah, so it looks like we're breaking up. We can't hear you, but I'll re-ask it. Hopefully you'll be in a better place. So the topic today is rethinking our leadership assumptions, particularly in the context of change. And we opened up talking about change is inevitable. Change happens, particularly in our business, in our nonprofit, in our ministry, etc. So how do we navigate that, and how do we think about it differently so that we don't lose our peace, but we're able to maintain our peace in the midst of change?
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a loaded question. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, we hear you a little bit better. Yep.
Okay, good. That is a very loaded question, because when you're talking about assumptions, you're talking about to accept the truth, or to what happens without proof. Basically, accept something that's not true, that you don't have proof of. And I call that faith. I call that faith. I call that, in our change there must be faith. In our assumptions there must be faith. It's almost like getting into the dark and not knowing what's going to come, if it's going to be light, ever going to turn light, if there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like in our nonprofit organization, I help children sex trafficking. I've been doing it for, oh my God, since 2011. It's been a long time. It's called Meet Me at the Wall, a Wall Association. You can go to meetmeatthewall.org and you'll look it up. It's got all on my bio. There's all that there. But basically, when you're talking about that, you're talking about that I'm walking in an area right now where we're taking our leadership, our nonprofit overseas. We are literally starting to build playgrounds in Kingston, Jamaica, and in Liberia, Mambo, the village called Mambo, Liberia, Monrovia, Liberia. That, to me, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm assuming that what I can't see, I can't see the truth, I can't see the proof, but I am assuming, because of the steps that I'm taking by faith, that everything will work out for their communities in this nonprofit sector. I believe that we need to do more of that and believe like we've never believed, because there are so many people in this land, in this nation, that are waiting on us to take an assumption, to take a step of faith, and be able to help other communities, children, families, companies, whatever it is that we do in our nonprofits. I believe that we need to operate even more as nonprofits. We need to build them. We need to create them as much as possible, because I believe by faith that there's a wide door, a huge a need for them, and it's coming even more now because of the changes that are happening in our nation. And so that's what I believe when you're talking about the assumptions and the change in leadership. I'm Marina, and I rest.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. And, part of the discovery this morning that we're going through is embracing that change for what it is. I think sometimes as leaders, we can take it super personal that change is happening. We can take it personal that someone is leaving our team or a customer is rolling off and not renewing their subscription or their business with us. When in reality, and I say this knowing I don't perfectly handle this, but in reality, change is an opportunity for us to grow as well because we can become so static and so stoic and we can lose sight of our dynamic capacity to do better, to do different, etc. Kim, I saw you flashing your mic. You want to chime in here?
I was just listening and clapping for her and for what she's doing. You know, I thank Marina for what she's doing. It's very important that we have someone like her, a champion out there, helping our young ladies and rescuing them from these awful, bad people. And so I thank you, Marina, for just for years. And so this is not something that's new. It's just been brought to the forefront because people have just started to hear about it. No, it's been going on for years. And I thank you, Marina, for just doing that. It touches me, and I'm so heartily grateful to hear that a sister is out there leading that path, leading that opportunity, taking on the initiative to do something, and not sitting back and saying, "I wish I could." So thank you so much for doing that. I am a mother of a daughter of 28. I'm a mother. I only have one child, and she's 26 years old now. She's a teacher, but I can understand as a mother raising a daughter how I was always just wanting to know where you are, what you're doing, who you with, because you just don't know. And so I thank you so much for leading that and going after it and saving these young girls out here. And you saving them, they're looking at you, and hopefully they'll take on that initiative too, and makes a footprint in their life that they will be able to bring that change and do the same things you're doing, or at least whatever they decide to do in life, they'll remember Marina who came and rescued them. So thank you so much. It touched me, so I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Blessings, Queen. Yeah. Blessings.
Yes, I echo that. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your work, Marina. Jamar, welcome on in. You are in the real estate business. We're talking about change and challenging our leadership assumptions. We're sipping coffee. But come on in, Jamar. What are your thoughts and reflections on this topic?
Well, Grand Rising, Kings and Queens, how are you? Pray all is well with you this morning. Make sure my mic, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine, and Grand Rising to you as well, sir.
Awesome. And listening to the idea of change, one thing that I've come to understand, even with myself, because I've been in the real estate business for about 3 years. I've been in leadership development, church base for about 16 plus years. I've been owning my own business and multiple business throughout the span of my life. And one thing I've come to understand, when it comes to change, there's a fear to change.
Yeah.
And the reason why there is a fear to change is because there is no precipice of what you can do.
Yep.
Because of some communities in which some of us may have come from, if it's been either the church arena or if it's been the secular arena or the business arena, there is really nobody that has actually laid exactly the groundwork for what it is that we see and we want to do. We've always seen those that are close to it, for example, and let's use the preacher arena, for example. Many people, all we saw was the T.D. Jakes or the Joel Osteens or the Juanita Bynums. So because we saw this and no other type of example, we have limited ourselves to what we have seen. And because we limit ourselves to what we have seen, we have shorthanded ourselves from going outside of the box. And because we have refused to go outside of the box when things like a shakeup comes of customer leaves or a valuable employee leaves, we feel like it's personal because everything we have invested to it, and this is my one little thing, and I want to make sure that it all goes well. When we don't realize that even at the end of the day, God has the final say.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, God has the final say. And what God does is He stretches you.
Yep.
When He knows you're in a box and you're not going to budge from where He wants you to go, He will stretch you. And many of us get lost in the stretching because we feel that it's the most uncomfortable feeling and most uncomfortable place, because nobody talks about the stretching. They talk about the preparation before it, and they talk about the process after it. So when it comes to change, we must embrace the change and say, okay, yes, this is about to be a new opportunity. What are we going to embark in? What are we going to run into? What are we about to invent? Because God adds the increase, and it's for us to be prepared for the increase, because He will not give you something that you are not prepared for.
Man, let's go there for a little bit, Jamar, because we were talking about that, the role of the divine. I'm personally a believer. So I definitely subscribe to that, and I'm reflecting on that last part about God giving an increase. And what I opened up this session talking about a loss that I experienced with one of my direct staffers who resigned several weeks ago. We grew together. We had many successes together, and I'm proud of him for taking a next step of faith to pursue another opportunity that's more lucrative and will allow him to tap into his skill set. Now, and what I've established in this room as a thought was that the divine already knows what's going to happen. He also knows the path forward. We, as creation, as leaders who are created by the divine, are just now discovering the change that we're struggling to navigate through. So our job as we mature is to figure out what is it that we're actually dealing with. How do we navigate through that change to find the path of success and peace that the divine has already laid out? I love the framing of what you said at the end, that He ultimately gives the increase. The crazy part that's really hard to accept is the fact that we assume our planting and watering is the end result of the work we're doing, when in reality we can water and plant and water the garden for a particular customer, particular partner, particular deal, and we may never ever see the increase of that. However, and what I found to be the case is that some of the things we don't pay the most attention to, yet that's still being planted and watered, that gets the increase. And I'm bringing to this particular panel, to Kim, Marina, Nico, and you, Jamar, that when the increase comes, which we can rename as change, are we mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepared to shift gears towards where the increase is coming from? So I'll toss it back to you, Jamar, and I'll invite Kim, Marina, and Nico to kind of chime in here on that idea. Come on, Kim.
No, I agree. I love it. This is a great conversation. Now I'm kind of like, this is waking up. So I'm just being honest. Yeah. So with me, with change and leadership, I welcome it. I welcome it because, one, and I'm a child of God. First of all, let me just put it out there. I welcome it because I believe that if I go in this direction, I believe that He knows what is to come throughout my leadership, right? And so I don't question it. I welcome it, right? And I look at that. If the change is what is needed, then the change is what it is. And I love change. Bring it on, because as a human being, we get set, we get settled, we get comfortable, right?
Yes.
And so that's not the way the world works.
Right.
So when we're staying comfortable, like, I grew up in a society. My father was a prominent person in the U.S. in the D.C. government, but he was like, "Girl, go to college, get you a good job, and stay there." That was the world we lived in, right? And that was the mentality we had. But no, now the world shifts every day. What we hear today is already late. What we hear, well, the computers, technology, everything we heard about today, we're late. We're behind. So I accept change, and I think change is good. Now, as a leader, we had to discern if we take this change, how do we direct it? How do we lead it? How do we foster it? How do we cultivate it? How do we move around it? And how do we and how do we make the ones that are behind us convince them that this is the right thing to do? So I love this conversation. I'm waking up. I'm here now. So yeah, Jamar, I'm looking forward to your comments on this too. Thanks everyone for joining. I appreciate the conversation's getting good.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Yeah.
Absolutely. Jamar, before you jump in, I just want to say good morning to Beverly, Diego, and Michelle. I also want to say good morning to our Facebook group. For the folks here in Clubhouse, I invite you to come up to the stage for a couple reasons. Number one, obviously come up to share if you care to. Number two, the audio quality is much better. And then number three, when you're on stage, your network is alerted that we're having this conversation over coffee. I want to say good morning to Candy as well. So I'm just going to invite you guys up to share. But Jamar, you started this. I mean, let's continue this thought, man. This whole increase idea is indeed change, which is wild. If I was preaching tomorrow at my church, I got a month off, I might just preach that topic and I might hit it in November. But like, continue to take us down that path, Jamar, around the increase and change.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Dr. Clark. This is a good conversation. I love it when I get to talk. Morning to you, Sister Kim, as well. Morning to you. Now, when it comes to the increase in the change, there's two things that I have learned in my short span of living. First thing I've learned is many people are not ready for what they ask for. Many people are not ready for what they ask for. And the second thing that I have learned is you cannot identify yourself by what you're doing. You can't identify yourself by what you're doing. So when I say you're not ready what you ask for, it's because when you throw your seeds, I'm a city boy, and I have family from the country, the good old North and South Carolina, so they know more about farming than us city boys do. It's because when it comes to city boys, we like everything quick, fast, and in a hurry. So we like to pay attention to more of those things that we feel will be valuable as important. Like, okay, God, I want you to focus on this part. I want you to focus on this part. Yes, I did that, but I want you to focus on this part. And when that part grows, and we see the impact of that part grows, we don't know how to handle that because our mindset wasn't geared to that. We said we want to increase, but because it came in the way we wasn't expecting it, we wasn't prepared for it mentally. Then also, I've come to realize that if you identify yourself just as this limited amount of success, when you grow beyond that, of course, let's go back to farming and harvesting. When you plant one seed, you get a great harvest. So if you just limit yourself to this one seed, this is who I am just this inventor. I am just this creator of this coffee machine. Now, once you create the coffee machine, because you limit yourself to being this coffee machine, what about the product that goes into the coffee machine? What about the type of coffee that come out of the coffee machine? What about the accessories that come with the coffee machine? By you just limiting yourself to being this product, when the increase comes, now you stuck because you didn't decide to branch outside of the box. But this is one thing that I love about God. This is one thing that I love about him. Throughout your life, he will give you pieces and principles and nuggets and pieces and principles that he'll say, this will spring up at a later time. That will spring up at a later time. That will spring up at a later time. And he prepares you in the meantime. Mm-hmm. But what you have to do is you yourself, it's very important. And we as leaders, they always say prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation is always important. Why? Because it keeps you connected to the divine. No matter what, it keeps your focus off of what you have in your hand and what's in front of you and keep you to the source.
Yeah.
Because if you connect to the source and you are you are an employee of the source, there is no limit to the source.
Yeah.
So if there's no limit to the source, you yourself, if you stay in constant meditation and stay in constant prayer, you yourself will take the limits off of yourself.
Yep. I wanna go deeper here. I want to say good morning to Lori, Michelle, Diego, and Beverly. Feel free to come up to the stage. Jamar, I wanna go deeper here because this conversation, and I wish there was a way to change the title of the room while live, because we're talking about rethinking our leadership assumptions, particularly as it relates to change. The part I want to talk about, Jamar, and this is still relative to the example of plant water increase, is that, and let me just give a visual example. My wife and I, let me just say, my wife last year started kind of a mini garden, and she planted various vegetables. They each had their own section within our garden. They had their own container. They were separated from the other vegetables so that there was just no, there was no, crossover there. It also gave organization, structure, for her, for the plants themselves, for our kids who were participating in that. And one of the things that I'm drawing on, Jamar, as we talk about change, transformation, the role of the leader, etc., is that it is important for us to embrace the understanding, the model of change, which is, and I just can't get rid of this, how you framed it, plant water increase comes, all right? What we don't know is if what we've planted and watered will receive increase. That's the thing we don't know. Now, we will follow the protocol, we'll follow the process and the systems. We don't know. As it relates to our nonprofits, our businesses, our ministries, etc., our relationships, we are planting and watering, making an investment with the hope that there will be an increase. Just because we plant and water does not mean the divine will offer an increase in our business or our nonprofit or our ministry or our relationships. There's no guarantee, and nor has he promised that. However, one of the things I've learned from watching my wife and my children build our little garden was that while some fruits and vegetables and plants did not increase, even though my wife treated every plant equally and fairly with love and concern, and regular pruning and watering, she had to place her bets or plant her seeds in multiple planters, locations, so that just in case one failed, another had a chance to increase. The tomatoes didn't grow well, but our mini watermelons did. Our peppers didn't grow well, but our string beans did, right? While there wasn't success in one area, there was success in another area. And to the point that I believe we're making about how to navigate change and shifts and transitions, I'm sensing from this room that one of the best ways to understand the power of change and rethinking our leadership approach to change is to understand that we are responsible for planting seeds in multiple spaces and locations, because we just don't know how the divine will utilize one space for increase. And here's a practical element of this. My direct report is leaving, right? If I was stubborn or selfish with the seed planting and focused only on him and didn't plant seeds with other people within our organization and our team, I would not have been able to become aware of who's the next person to step up. And as that next person is stepping up, and I'm pruning, lost my train of thought. As the next person steps up and I'm helping them come up to speed and grow into their leadership, which is not going to look the same as his, I also have to begin the journey of planting and watering seed with others, whether it's people who are already there or new hires that we're going to bring in, because you just don't know where the increase is going to come from. Kim, Marina, Jamar, when you hear that framing, what's your reflection on that? Do you think, Kim, because you've been here since the beginning, do you think that the way Jamar offered this idea and how we're taking it is really hitting it the right way as we talk about reframing and rethinking our leadership approach to change?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the beauty of divine, right? The
Mm.
beauty of divine is that we don't have to. It doesn't have to be the same way every time we do it. It doesn't have to be. We don't have to plant in the same area every time we plant.
Yeah.
We can choose and pick and choose where we want to plant our seeds.
Absolutely.
We can do that, and that's the best part of it. That's the best part of it. The best part, and I'm glad you were able to see through your change in your leadership, because now, as I mentioned before, had this person not moved, you probably would not move.
Yeah.
Had this person not take on a new opportunity, you probably won't take on it. I mean, not that you say you won't, but you're being now pushed to do so.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, I believe in that. I believe that evolution is that we are supposed to change. And I'm not expecting to be in the same process, the same theory, the same thoughts I am right now today in the next 5 years. Absolutely not. I don't want to be. But I also want to be in a position where I can cultivate it and understand it and make sure that, if I'm going to plant a seed in another direction, in another area of my backyard, that I give it the same attention I give everything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so if I don't give that attention to, just because I plant it somewhere else doesn't mean I don't like it, doesn't mean I don't foster it. I give it the same attention.
Yeah.
This exact same attention. But it may do better in that location.
Yes.
And I might say, okay, then I need to bring some plants over there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But I wouldn't know that if I didn't change it. So absolutely, Jamar's on point. And that's part of the fun part of leadership.
Yes.
Is that we get to take change and foster it and move it. Now, if you're under leadership where change never comes, and you know that because you're sitting in the same you're doing the same thing every single day. And there are people who are stuck. They're stuck because their leadership won't change. People won't go. They won't move. They're just stuck there. They're waiting for a retirement date. Then people who stay under that type of leadership, if they stay there, they're stuck there. That's on them to decide to plant their seed somewhere else. If that leadership is not planting a seed for them or moving that seed around, then they have to decide to move that seed themselves. This is Kim Dunn speaking.
Man, this is. Go ahead. Come on, Jamar. Come on. You started this. Come on.
Awesome. Now, beautiful words, Kim. Beautiful words. Now to even take your example you used, Dr. Clark, a little bit deeper. Now, when you was talking about how your wife started gardening and harvesting, I started gardening myself, and understanding that, then I have also had to come to realize that every fruit does not bloom in every season.
Yes. Yeah.
So even though I may plant in the fall, some fruits are not meant to be planted, or veggies are meant to be planted in the fall. Some are supposed to be planted in the summer. Some are supposed to be planted in the winter. Some are supposed to be planted in the spring. And I've learned this because I tried to plant some spaghetti squash. And I'm gonna go ahead and to bring this into non-profiting and leadership of any entity that you have. Because I planted this squash, they said you can plant all year round. I planted the squash and I saw some bud. I planted some radishes, I planted some carrots. Nothing came up. I watered the whole garden, nothing came up. But I've seen the squash budding. And now a few days later, it died. So I was a little distraught that I thought I was committing planticide, trying to kill all my plants, but I didn't. I had to understand the timing in which each is supposed to grow and each is supposed to develop. And because you see potential, don't put all your eggs in that one basket, because there is some animals that are trying to eat your seed, what they call some mites. There's some flies that are coming to try to hinder and pluck up from the root. So you always have to be on guard. You can't always expect it to bloom at the same time. So I give this profit example, this business example. I've been a public speaker since 16. I've been to different places, different states. I've even went out of the country. I planted seeds many places. I could go many places and I don't remember who I've spoken to, who was around, but they'll say, I know you. I remember when you came and you said such a, I don't remember, but you remember. And now I done relocated from the east side to the west side. And now I'm trying to grow there. So in understanding how seeds are planted, you sprinkle it everywhere. You never know what's going to develop. You never know what's going to spring out because you have to understand timing. And once timing and what season it's supposed to be, then you'll be able to embrace it. And now that I'm in the new place, trying to plant here and trying to build here and trying to establish here, I understand that the minerals of the garden where I was the first time is not the same as where I am now.
Yep.
I can't use the same fertilizer. I can't use the same dirt. I can't use the same type of water there because the tap water here is not the same as good as the tap water here. So now I have to use a different brand of water. So now I have to understand to know how to move with the waves.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely got what I needed this morning. I definitely got what I needed. Marina, I mean, you've been sitting here, you chimed in too. I mean, any thoughts about this whole thing around change?
You're on mute, Marina. I think we might have lost her.
Yeah. So, final thoughts, final reflections. Kim, we'll start with you before we wrap today.
Yeah. The final thoughts. And it's so funny that when I'm speaking, I'm thinking about what I'm saying and how we should always listen to what we say, not just because we're saying it to inspire others, but we should also use it to inspire ourselves. And so, I'm an empath. Let me just start with that, right? And so, because of as being an empath, we take change. We can adapt to change, but it takes us a while to get there, right? But I'm very open to it. I am a Gemini and empath. I'm like a double whammy, right? So, but I'm open. I love change. It takes me a minute to gravitate to the change that's being made. Yeah. It takes me a while to sit down and say, wow, God, I didn't see that coming. Yep. Okay, gotcha. You got my attention now. Okay, so, but I love it when it happens.
Yeah.
And I think it's purposeful. I think that it fills our cups. I believe that it is evolution, and it's what we need individually as human beings, as a mother. I welcome it. I welcome it. I welcome it. I welcome it. And I'm excited for you, Dr. Clark, because the next person or persons,
yep,
right?
Yep.
Right? It doesn't have to be one. It could be two. Will bring something. When you look back at it from a year from now, you're gonna say, "Wow."
Yeah.
This is my vision is still very clear, but it's a working vision, right?
Yeah.
It's never a closed door vision.
Yeah.
And so the persons that you will bring in to for the next footsteps are going to be amazing, and they're going to open your eyes and ears to something that you were thinking or prayed on, and like, I needed this, I needed them, and they needed me. And so that team is going to work. The team is going to be so cohesive. And I look forward to hearing the story a year from now, if possible.
Yeah,
how things work out. So, but as my closing comments, try to stop myself from saying last words, because that's not my last words. My closing comments are, as leaders, it is our duty and our responsibility to ensure that we lead the people that work with us, that help bring us the good in our work, that help bring us the money, the financials in our work, everything around us that works. It's like a train, it works. It's up to us to lead them, to put footsteps in their lives as well, and make an impact in them, and let them know that we're there for them. So yeah, that's my final comments, and I appreciate this room. I appreciate your club room, your club nonprofit funding and tips. We needed this, and I am looking forward to the next conversation with Nonprofits and Coffee. So thank you.
Absolutely.
This is Kim speaking.
Kim, as you were talking, I just had this ongoing revelation that continues to bring peace to me. And that is, and this is where we started, Kim, because you were here from the very beginning, the pressure we put on ourselves to control change and to get specific results is completely unnecessary and unwarranted. And as I look forward to what's next with my team and new opportunities, new business opportunities, new clients, etc., what I'm gathering from this room, this is just my takeaway, right? It is my job to recognize that my gifts are indeed seeds, and they are not meant for every climate or temperature or soil. However, if I'm able to determine pre-engagement that a relationship is not a fit, then I'm able to save my seeds, right? Because if you wanna go there, right, in terms of scripture, it talks about a farmer is going to undoubtedly sow his seeds on 4 different grounds, one of which is going to be extremely healthy. So you are not always aware of what's healthy. Something can look healthy on the surface and be completely dangerous to the seed underneath. Tamar, to your point, one of the things that has derailed some of our growth has been the grasshoppers and the chipmunks and all the other animals that decide to nibble on our stuff, right? So sometimes it's just going to happen. The dynamics of seed, planting seed, just creates this experience where it's just not going to be perfect. However, what I sense from Kim, what you're sharing, Kim, and what I'm embracing for my own self, is the beauty and the power of being at peace, knowing that I don't have to control or worry about the increase. The increase comes from the divine, and it's my job to be vigilant and to have my eyes open to where the increase is taking place, so that I can shift gears towards that and go with where the divine is leading to add more seed while planting other seeds in other spaces. I truly got what I needed, Kim, from this room. Thank you so much. Jamar, what's your final thoughts and reflections here?
Awesome. Once again, thanks for having me. Of course, enjoyed being here. My final thoughts for this conversation, which is not going to be at the end, of course, is always stay growing yourself.
Yep.
Always stay growing and developing, because the more you have, the more you can pour. You can't get no more into a pitcher if you don't empty the pitcher out.
Yep.
So you have to always keep growing, always keep developing, always keep maturing. The more you grow, the more you develop, the more you mature, the more you will be able to embrace the change that comes.
Yep.
The more you grow, the more you can. The moment you stop growing is the moment when you're going to have the biggest, well, I ain't going to say the biggest trouble, but the biggest wrestle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stay growing. Even though you plant your seeds here, keep on growing, keep on developing, keep on learning, keep on giving. Why? Because as you were able to give one plant away or one vegetation away, now you got room for another vegetation to grow in that spot.
Yeah.
You grew tomatoes here, so now it's time to grow some kiwi here or some squash here.
Yep.
Now, fuck that, give that somebody else. Now it's time to grow some mangoes, some oranges here. As long as you always continue to grow, then you will always be ready for change. So that's my last comment.
Thank you so much, Shamar, for introducing that thought. Planting, water, and increase. I think that has added so much value to our room. Sonia, thank you for hanging out with us. For folks in the room and folks in our Facebook group, thank you for being with us today. If you want to get on my calendar and talk about your nonprofit, talk about your fundraising goals, and just to have a listening ear and perhaps a sounding board that can help you think through some of your challenges, I'm going to encourage you to shoot me a message wherever you are, whether it's on Facebook or Clubhouse or Instagram. I'm at Dr. William P. Clark on all platforms. Just shoot me a message. I'll be glad to send you the link. If you want to do it directly, simply go to my website, drwilliampclark.com. Again, drwilliampclark.com. Go ahead and schedule your free consultation. With that being said, Kim, Jamar, thank you so much. To everybody else, be well. We'll catch you guys later. Stay safe, and y'all be well.